There we go. You should have sound now. Apologies. I told you there'd be some kinks that we need ironing out. So hopefully that's better. There we go. You can hear me now. Let me turn myself off. Right. There's a reason I'd left my microphone on. Speakers on. So what I was saying before was this is basically we're trying out some, not new software, but a new functionality where we can dual stream to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time, and have a, basically for those of you that don't like using Facebook, you can always see us over in YouTube, and for those of you that don't like using YouTube, you can come along and see us on Facebook. So it's just another way of watching what we are up to. So today I thought we would have a look at this one again, and basically some people have said they don't like rectangle cards, so they wanted to see it as a square one, so absolutely, let's get that done. And they don't have brusho, so what other mediums can they use? So we're going to use Oxide for it. So there you go, that is what we are going to look at this afternoon, but we are going to be doing it on a square card for a change, because I don't always do squares, do I? There we go. Right, I'm going to keep going quiet every now and again, aren't I? Just check everything's up and running fine. Right, I should have moved my rubbish bag from under the table, because that's what I'm just rolling over. So what I've got here is a lovely little 6-inch card. I'm going to put the base to one side so I don't lose it. Well, it's me, more than likely lose it. And then I've got the piece I'm going to work on, which is a 5.5-inch mat. Yep. So we're just going to do that. I've also found my our lovely scented embossing powders. So I'm going to be using that this afternoon. No, oh, I'm throwing it around already. Not a good look, is it? There we go. Right. So just gonna. It's a really quick and easy card, this one. So I'm going to do this bottom corner first. There we go. And I've got my big flower from our monthly make that I'm going to use, and I'm also going to use some clear embossing powder with it. Well, as clear as my embossing powder is. It's generally a little marked, shall we say, because I never clean my stamps, you know what I'm like. There we go. Hang on a second, I've pressed the wrong button already. That's not a good start, is it? There we go. Right, I'm back. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of my emboss pads. I did find a few of my emboss pads as well. I've had a bit of a tidy up, can you tell? And I'm just going to ink up a bit of this stamp. I love this big stamp, it's fabulous for things like this. I can't wait till tomorrow, because we will be launching our brand new monthly make tomorrow afternoon, evening even, at 7 o'clock. We'll be launching the new monthly make box, so I hope you can join me for that. I'm just going to pop this down on here, just give it a real good press. There we go, and I'm just going to grab my rather large box of embossing powder. And I will admit, these are the spoons that are in them are for when my little ones were little. Oh, I didn't press the middle very well there. Obviously they don't use them nowadays. Yes, I didn't ink up the middle of my stamp very well. Never mind. It'll do. I'll put that to one side. I'm going to turn round. I'm not going to heat set it yet. I'm going to put some more anti-static on this bit. And we're going to ink him up again. Hi Nicola. So just give it a good ink this time. Look, I'm pressing in the middle. We will get some ink on the middle of our stamp this time. I'll blame the technology. New technology in me doesn't always work. I can't work out which bit I've added ink to and which bit I haven't, so I know it's meant to be tinted, but it's not that tinted. Right, we should be good to go this time. And we're just going to pop it on the bottom. Just like that. Yeah, I might have actually stamped it that time properly. It doesn't matter, we're going for that lovely simplistic effect, aren't we? That. So basically I've stamped in either corner. I like doing that on square cards. There we go. So we have got not a lot of embossing powder there again. Must have something against stamping in the corners. There we go. Right, I'm going to put that there and get my lid back on before, well, you know what I'm like with embossing powders. There's that one. And then I just need to find my heat gun and give it a quick heat up. There we go. Oops. And just make sure with an image this big, just make sure you really take your time heat setting that embossing powder. There's nothing worse than getting painting and getting going and then knocking a load of powder that you forgot to heat set. Can't just be me that is that unlucky with embossing powders. There we go. And turn him around again. A little bit there that needs to finish off. You can see I've not stamped it very well at all in the bottom corner, so we'll see what bits of embossing powder is going to cling to it. I think it might have done better than I thought. I'm just going to turn it off because it's getting rather hot. I'm going to grab my peg. Okay, then my fingers don't need to be quite as close to it. There we go, nearly there. I don't know why I have to concentrate so much when I'm embossing, but I do. Right. I think I've got all that powder. Oh no. See, there's always a patch that I forget. I really wish I could emboss beautifully like some of you guys do. Ooh. Let's get rid of that. Right, so literally all I've done, instead of on this one, on the rectangle, I've stamped more of the flower in one corner. On this one I've stamped a smaller amount of the flower into the two corners, because even though it's a massive stamp, we can still use it on our smaller cards. There's no problem there at all. Afternoon, Maxine. That was meant to be afternoon even. So all I'm going to do, you can see I've covered my desk in embossing powder. Before we go any further, let me just wipe my desk down. There we go. See, I am a mucky pup when it comes to using embossing powders, aren't I? I'll get there with them. What's that saying? Practice makes perfect. Right, so this is where, oops, a daisy. I will be a little bit more polished tomorrow, I promise. Right, so this is where on Friday, not Friday, last Wednesday, on this one, I pulled out my brush hose and we got a little bit of painting done. But like I say, not everyone's got brush hose. So this time we are going to use our lovely Distress Oxide. You could use your inks for this. I should have picked my colours before we started, but I'm never that organised, am I? So what have I got on my desk? Let's have a quick look, shall we? Oh, a bit of wilted violet. Oh, Bear's favourite colour, Twisted Citron. To be fair, that's quite a nice combo, isn't it? So we've got a bit of Twisted Citron. Hi Trisha. Twisted Citron, peacock feathers and wilted violet. Oh, congratulations, Trisha, you were our challenge winner this week, weren't you? So I think actually I'm just going to go with what's on my desk because I do quite like them colours. So let's start with this one. Again, I've not cleaned my paintbrush. If any of you were watching on Wednesday, you'll know my rather big, lovely watercolour brush was bright red. We did also find out the culprit of why, the reason it was bright red, didn't we? Anyway, so I'm looking for my teeny tiny one. Normally, I'd be using this one because it's got a lovely big head and you can get lots and lots of water down with it. Whereas on today, I'm going to be using my smaller one. So I'm just going to go in exactly the same as I did on Wednesday. I'm just adding my lovely Twisted Citron. I'm not colouring, no. All I'm doing is just splodging this colour on there. I think I might have had a little bit of blue left in my brush. And I've not watered my paper. So with the brush out, I started out by watering the paper. With my oxides, I am just going to lay the colours down. Trying not to colour in the lines. I don't want to be neat and tidy. And then we're just going to add a few little splodges. Again, if you're doing this with kiddies, grab your box lids. They're brilliant for this. So I have got some lovely Twisted Citron on there. Yep. Wipe that off my desk, and then I'm just going to give it a quick blast. Not too close because I don't want to over melt that embossing powder that we had on there. It's more as well these dots, because with the oxide, if you set it, if you heat it up, the colour tends to stay where you left it. Yeah, whereas with brush hose, even if you re-wet it, it moves. Oxide, not so much. Just trying to get it dry-ish. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry, just ish will do for this. There we go. Right. Next, let's grab some peacock feathers. I'm going to have to put quite a bit more peacock feathers on, aren't I? There we go. I always forget that's a juicy one. Let's just pick this one up. And then we're just going to start splattering it around. And I love the different kind of textures and just effects you get using oxides. I'll show you my brusher one again in a second. I'm not doing fancy smancy painting here. I am doing splat it on painting. There's a time and a place for fancy dancy painting, and this is not it. This is just splat it on and have some fun. If you're in the mood for fancy fancy painting, it would look lovely, but there we go. So I've got a lovely blue. I'm now starting to wonder if that wilted violet might be a bit too much over the top, but we will see. There we go, just start to blend it in there, or splodge it in even. keeps blodging it on there. Like I say, nothing too... Oops. That's a lot darker than my last paintbrush for once. There we go. And then all I'm going to do is leave me little splatters again. So get all your water mixed in so it's nice and runny on your brush. And just give it a quick daisy. There we go. Right, just need to tidy off my desk. And this time I'm actually going to take the colour out of my paintbrush as well. Only because Peacock Feathers is quite a strong colour. There we go. I don't want it fighting with the Lovely Violet on there. Hi Sean. So there's that one. Just going to give it a quick blast. Again, it's more for these dots than it is for anything else. Just try not to over melt your embossing powders. So you can see you're getting very similar effects to using your Brusho. Brusho is a bit more vibrant, I think, at this stage. There we go. Let me just double check that one. Righty ho. I think so far so good. I hope you've all got your fingers crossed that this is working. It is funny, isn't it, when things like new technologies and stuff throws you for 7. So again, we're now just going to go in with our lovely wilted violet. I'm going to do this quite pale actually, so I've really watered it down. There we go. So I wouldn't now dream of putting my paintbrush in that bit there. We want it here where we've got lots and lots of water. It's almost pink. Come back in. Splat it on any which way. And can you see here when I've gone over those blue dots? Hold it up actually, you won't be able to. Whoops. Yep, can you see where we've gone over our blue dots here? It hasn't moved. It's starting to, don't get me wrong, because you can't fix Oxide completely. But it's not, what's the word, bleeding like Brusho would. So again, let's get some more in here. If I was to keep adding water to it, obviously yes, it is going to start to. There we go. There's that one. I'm just going to turn it around and let's start on this one now. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water because it's getting a little bit darker in our colour there, isn't it? You could do this with, you know, the pick-up techniques we normally do. Could do that with this, which would look quite nice as well. I might do that in a minute if I can find another piece of square card. Oh, we'll cut one. So again, just. You don't want solid edges to this, you want it to look like it's been splattered on, don't you? Right, and now, let's get it all mixed up. Let's just tap some of this lovely purple. And it's covering my desk at the same time. Keep missing that corner there. There we go. Oh, less is more, isn't it, when it comes to splattering? Get carried away. There we go. Right. Perfect level of splattering. Giving that a quick wipe over. And I'm just going to dry them dots again. I'm not going to worry too much about my flowers. It's really those dots I just want to dry off. There we go. So if I grab the one we did on Wednesday using our lovely brushes, you can see you get a very similar effect using your oxides. Yeah. So if I used, I think 1, 2, 3, I used 4 colours on that one. I've only used 3 on this one because that's what was sat on my desk. It still looks effective, doesn't it? So now I'm going to grab my saying. I should have some bits, saying bits here. Pop that down over there. It always surprises me how sticky the embossed ink is. So it can do its job, isn't it? So I have got imperfection is beautiful. Love this saying. I need some black ink. Oh, it could be any. Oh no, there it is. I say it could be anywhere. I've not seen it. Just there. Make sure you give it lots and lots of ink. Would help if I wasn't trying to stamp over a ridge on my desk. There we go. Then wonder why it doesn't stamp properly. Wonder. Give that a good press. Pop that on there. So imperfection is beautiful. And all we're going to do with that is get our little chomper. He was around, he's there. Just going to move my rubbish bag because there we go, it's out of the way this time. So all I'm going to do is just grab this, pop it in here. Obviously make sure your ink is dry before you try and mat and layer it. Cut it down even. I know some people like cutting their pieces before this. I don't really have a set way of doing it. I like to stamp it and then I can trim it, I suppose. So I'm going to pop that on there. So we get a lovely white mat for it. There we go. There's that one. I'm only doing it by eye because you know how it goes when I start measuring things. It doesn't work at all, does it? There we go. Let's leave our little bits over there. Hi Mum. No, we're just trying out new stuff. So it's not. It's an impromptu one to try out some new software here and on YouTube. Yay! Hopefully we're live over on YouTube, which I think we are. So if you're ever stuck, you can't get into Facebook for whatever reason, and you know we're live, you should be able to nip on to YouTube, go into our YouTube channel, and we'll be live right there too. That sounds all posh, doesn't it? We're getting there. I just need to learn to use it properly, but we will. We'll get there. So I'm just going to put a lovely little doodle doodle. I've loved, you know, where you send your sayings, you've got a where we offset them like this. It's perfect space for either stamping like another little flower. So if you got the advent calendar, the flower that's in there works perfectly with this set. So the little flower head you could stamp there, but I think it just cries out for that little bit of something, especially when you've got a saying that's just offset like these are. And that is the reason I do them that way as well. So it just gives you a little way to add a little space. And so if you want to put a flower, you've got that space to put that flower in, or anything really. So I'm going to grab this one. Hope it's dry. Do love how pale and just Subtle. That's not a word. That's not a word I use very often, is it? Subtle. Lynn. Making pineapple upside down cake. Not made that in ages. It's delicious though. So I'm being brutal here. I am drawing straight through our lovely flowers. That's only because I didn't, if you notice, I didn't leave much embossing powder behind. Because I didn't stamp it very well. I didn't ink it up very well. That's okay. Get a bit of a squiggle going on there as well. So that is going to go on there like so. I'm loving how subtle this one is. Subtle Sunday we should call it, shouldn't we? I'm just going to grab, I did have some foam tape on my desk. I did say did. Not quite sure what I've done with it. Rude. Could be anywhere now, couldn't it? So Bear found a stash, didn't he? There you go. I put it back in the tub he found. Right, so all I'm going to do, just make sure before you start matting and layering things like that that your gel pens are dry. There's nothing worse than coming to move it, to turn it over and like swipe your hand across it or something and you remove all that lovely gel pen. And the fix for that is obviously grab your charcoal pencil, isn't it? And then obviously you were meant to have a drop shadow. Of course. No one will ever know the difference. Unless you tell them, of course. Let's get this one on here. Now I'm not worrying too much about which way I'm putting mine on because obviously mine's not a base card as such, mine's more mine's a sheeter card because we use these on the sample boards and things at shows. Getting a right mountain ready to go back on the boards for when we need them. Oops. Fingers and thumbs. And normally, like I say, I would be adding a little bit of glue to my foam pads as well, just to give it that extra security, especially now winter's coming in, isn't it? You're giving people cards that'll sit on top of their fireplaces, above the radiator, that type of thing. The last thing you want is for them to fall apart on them. There you go, I think that's how I want it. Nope, don't like it that way. Don't know why. Do you like it that way though? Odd, isn't it? Sometimes it just doesn't look right. So I'm just going to get volcano glue working. There we go. Got a bit of a gunky end. Let's just tidy him up, shall we? There we go. Come on, volcano glue, you want to do this. Thank you. Pop that in there. Yep, let's just pop that down on there like so. So where's our inspiration? This is the one we did on Wednesday. I know, multi-make on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Odd. Using our lovely brush hose, and it was rectangle. And you can see how easy it was to change it into a square card using our Oxide. And I don't know whether the colour is quite coming. Oh, it is coming across fine. So Oxide brush hose. Should we do one more quickly? Because that didn't take us very long, did it? I'm going to leave them there for a second whilst I cut a little piece of card. So I keep going on about us doing pick-up techniques, don't I? So let's do one. It'll be really quick, I promise. Don't blink because you will miss this, I think. I'm just going to cut my piece of card. Oops. Right, so this one is just slightly smaller. It's about 1/4 inch smaller because that's the piece of card that I grabbed. So that's a 5x7, that's a 6x6, and this is 5 3/4. Pop them to one side. I've done exactly the same again. I've got a base and I've got my top mat. Yep, so it's this one we're going to use. So you've got one or two ways to do this one. You can either start by stamping your flower, or you start by stamping. Oh, hi Zena. I've been trying to confuse you all this afternoon, popping on and off. But we're here. It is working. Yay! Oh, hi Nicola. Thank you so much, Nicola. She's popped onto YouTube to say it's live. Oh, thank you. Yay! What that does mean is if you are, I know this sounds really, sounds big-headed, it doesn't mean to. If you're wanting to cast us onto TVs and things like that, it's a lot easier to do from YouTube. And also it's a lot easier to search the video content on YouTube as well. So that's the reason we're doing it. And of course, some of our lovely monthly mate ladies and gents don't have access to Facebook, so now they don't miss out on all the good fun we have. So we should be able to stream to both of them. Right, what was I going to do? I was going to do this one. Now, I want to stay subtle. I'm quite liking this subtle malarkey. So, I'm going to stamp in white again. I'm going to do exactly what I've just done. But I'm only going to stamp in one corner. Right. Let me get my white embossing powder and let me get my lid off first. And try not to cover myself in it this time. There we go. But it's not white, this embossing powder, it's the lovely antique white, it's the lovely creamy-ish white. So we're going to remember to stamp it to ink up our middles this time, because it's always important, isn't it? A real good, not sure what that is, but we don't want that stamping it. I will admit, after using emboss ink pads on my stamps, I do tend to give them a quick wipe, only because it tends to leave like a sheen on them, so when you come to use your next inks on them, it's almost like I say, it's got like this sheen on it, so just make sure you give them a quick wash. There you go. Right, let's hope I've inked that up properly this time. Now the panic of everything working right, settling down a bit. I'm going to do a lovely big corner on this one. So if you've got our November monthly mate, you could do some of these designs as well with it. Yep, just giving it a good walk round, make sure I get all that ink on there. Oh, nearly. I'll get an E for effort today with my embossing. E for effort indeed. There we go. Oh, actually it's not as shabby as I thought it was. There we go. I might move to a D. I did try. Right. So we've put our lovely embossing powder away at the moment. There. Right. See, I'm learning stuff all the time today. There we go. Right. So let's get this one. So if painting's not your thing, but you like the effects we've just got, you can still do it. Whether it's brush out, oxides, inks, I'm trying to think what else you could use for it. You know what? You could get your water-based markers and do what we're about to do. Oh, I might have actually done a really good embossing here. Not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything, but occasionally I do get it to work. It's weird, isn't it, how there's just some things that you don't quite get along doing. Right, just make sure, like I said before, it's a really big image. So what you want to do is just make sure you don't have any loose powder on there. I think I got it, apart from the bit I didn't want to seal. This bit down here, I've got a little bit. There we go, he's gone now. Right, so painting's not your thing, but you'll like the effect we've just been getting. What you need is a little scrappy piece of acetate. Perfect. I've always got acetate lying around on my desk. Or something shiny. Yeah. And we're going to stick with Bear's favourite colour, because we know he loves this one. Not. I'm just going to pop it down on our little piece of acetate. Give it a quick spritz. And then, oops, we are just going to start adding it to the centre. Doesn't matter if we splodge in other places, because that's what we'll cover that in a minute with the other colours. So can you see I have just added, this might be a bit pale, this one, but I've just started to add that lovely twisted citron to the centre. Yep. Doesn't look the most appealing of colours, does it really, when it's splatted on like that? Oh, I should have used that for me splatting. No. Yeah, I will. I was going to say, oh, it don't matter, we'll just do it with our peacock feathers and our other one. But we won't, we'll do it with this one as well. So, just a few little dots. Come on. Thank you. So I don't want much going on here at all with this one. There you go. So can you see I've just popped a little bit around the edge. Right, next up, actually we're going to seal it first. So grab your heat gun. Don't overcook your embossing powder, because that's not a nice look at all. So can you see I've tried to concentrate that colour? Well, you can't see because my heat gun's in the way, but try to concentrate that lovely twisted citron. I'm going to cheat, I've got a little bit of a blob there that doesn't want to dry, so I'm just going to dab it with my tissue. Then, next up, I'm going to grab peacock feathers. So I'm sticking to the same colours we did a few minutes ago. I'll do it in the corner of my acetate. So you can see it's in that bottom corner. So this time now, I've got a little bit, ooh, just get me running blobs off there. I've got a little bit more control over where I'm starting to stick it. There we go. I'm just going to wipe this off and I'm going to add a little bit more into my corner. Ooh, hang on, my acetate's wet. If I put, I don't know if you can quite see it, I've still got moisture on my acetate. If I was to put that on my, it's on the bottom, it would have been fine. If I was to put that moisture onto my ink pad, it would make my ink pad not very happy. It takes quite a bit to dry your ink pad out again. See, I've done it again. Big blob there. Don't want that big blob. Thank you. So let's just keep building this up. Little and build, little and build. But because I've used the corner of my acetate, you can see I'm really starting to have more control over where I am splatting this colour. There we go. And then we're just going to add a few little dots. Yep, that you can quite see there. But it's starting to come together. And then quick heat gun. Come on. Again, I'm moving it all the time because I don't want to overcook that embossing powder. There we go. Not looking too bad, is it? And then finally, I'm going to grab my acetate again and grab my wilted violets, and we'll just oops, I don't even know where I've just spritzed that. Not on the acetate, that's for sure. Oops. Got a big blob here, so let's go in and just move that a little bit. Okay. Adding it in. And I just want a bit more colour on there because that I've not quite got enough purple on there for my liking. Oops. I'm going to put a little bit on this time. And then again, we're just going to use up whatever's left on my piece of acetate around. Okay. If you wanted to, you could spritz that and try and get the colour to move a bit more, but I'm not. I'm going to grab, well, one more heat gun to get it nice and dry, but I'm also going to grab my charcoal pencil. It's just not popping out quite as much as I wanted it to. So I was being a bit dainty with my oxides. Right, I think that is dry. Grab. That's never going to work, is it? Let's see if I've got another one hanging around. There we go. I think this is the one I was arguing with the other day. Oh, should be fine. Right, so all I'm going to do... Ooh, big wet patch there. Hang on a second. I'm a bit too eager on this one. Okay. So all I'm going to do with this one... Oh, hot desk now. Just very gently come in. Just start to add. Oops. Just a little bit of my charcoal pencil. Oops, that's the way my leaf goes. I've done that one on the wrong side, never mind. Just add in a little bit. Let's get some more depth on there because he's not quite jumping out as much as I wanted him to. I'm just going to slowly build it up. So where am I up to? I can't remember. There it is. And I will admit it, my charcoal pencil at the end is very wobbly, which is why my shading's looking a little bit worse for wear, shall we say. Okay, I'm just going to come around this sense of it. And so I'm now looking at it again and thinking, where do I want to add a little bit more to? So I'm going to add some more here because it doesn't look like there is much. Oops. So just building it up. I'm just rubbing it over with my finger just to soften it back a little bit. There we go. Oops. I think it'd be quicker for me just to find my pencil sharpener and resharpen it, shall we say. Keep adding your bits in wherever you fancy. There's no right or wrong for this. Well, I don't think there is. Not when we're doing it like this. If we were doing like a proper painting, we'd have to think about where the light was and all that. But why not? Creating a lovely card. There we go, right. I should have been a bit more heavy-handed with my colours and then I wouldn't have had to quite go around so much. There you go. So I think I'm going to go on the inside of these as well. There we go. It's come back, hasn't it? And then just to finish it off, I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before with my sentiment, except I need a little bit bigger piece of white card. I'm just going to grab my off cuts. There they are. And this time, grab that one. We're going to go with the other one. Ooh. Throwing it on myself. Which is, don't be afraid to be great. There we go. Just going to get this one stamped. I'll pop that in there. Again, you'd make sure yours was dry. There we go. I just need to cut a slightly bigger one for my matting. Yep, I hope that was straight. That's okay. And then again, all I do is mount that one onto there. I do like that one. It's quite what is it? It's another subtle one, isn't it? But it's quite whimsical. Is that the right word? We'll see. We will see. So we're going to put that there. We will, whilst I know where my foam pads are, I will just pop this one together. Oops. Throwing everything about today. I've not doodled around this one. To be honest, I don't know whether it needs it. I don't think so. Yep, nearly there. Ooh, still got a squeaky chair. Maybe that's what I can fix next. Right, so I'm going to put this on here. Ooh, not the best mat in the world, but will do. I quite like that in that corner. Or if we do it that way. Oh, I think it's that way, isn't it? Yeah, up in that top corner. Then you get to see more of this lovely flower, don't you? You probably actually get to see the same amount. So let's get some glue out. Just like that. Let me pin back in my glue. Oh no, I won't. Can't do it one-handed. Move that down there. And there we go. Right, so we've actually done 2 this afternoon, haven't we? Not bad for a quick tester session this afternoon. Fingers crossed it all went okay, apart from the no sound at the beginning, but when I press the right buttons it works. So there's that one. There's, I don't know if I've got enough room here. Move it out of the way. So there's that one. There's our inspiration. Will I fit that on there? Fit that one there? Does it fit? Ish. There we go. And then that's the other one we did this afternoon. So those 2 are using Oxides. That one is using our Brusho. Not bad really. So that's what we did on Wednesday. So if you want to watch that one, it's over on Facebook on our videos from Wednesday. And those are the 2 we've done today. So you can see this big flower does work on those little 6x6s, and this effect, well, you can see we've done it on a lovely 6x6 card there. I've had great fun doing that, and hopefully the technology has worked. Yay! Lovely and subtle. Do you like them? Oh, thank you, Lynn. So that is it for me this afternoon. Let me see if I can find the right things now. There we go. I think I found the right thing. Maybe not. Hang on 1 second. I will. I'll find our... I'll be more polished tomorrow, I promise. So that is it for me this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for helping me try out our new software. So we can now stream not only to Facebook but to YouTube as well. So if you're having trouble getting into Facebook, you can go and see us over on YouTube and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's worked. Yay! Well done for me. Yay! I'm having a self round of applause this afternoon. I am really chuffed that it's worked. Anyway, we are back tomorrow night at 7 for the launch of our brand new monthly make for September. I love this next box. I know I say that every month, and I should really, because I designed them, but I do. I love this box. I can see lots and lots of different ways of using it, and it's going to be really useful as well over the coming seasons. So, Lynn watched on YouTube as well. Cool, I'm glad it's working. Yay. So again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for bearing with why I'm learning this new technology. And I will see you tomorrow. Fingers crossed on both platforms. It will work, honest. Anyway, have a lovely rest of your day. I'll stop bothering you now. So have a lovely rest of your day. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow.